Salutations from Wizard Studios. I am the Wizard. We have another news episode coming to you. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody to please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel when you do. Also, subscribe for more MMA content, and let's get right into it. Alright, Dana White says he has an interesting matchup for Jorge Masvidal that is not Kamaru Usman. And now, I've seen people say that they believe this is going to be Nick Diaz. And now, while I believe that is a little bit of wishful thinking, that is also stupid thinking, guys. Come on now. Nick Diaz hasn't fought in forever, and for him to come back in there and automatically face Jorge Masvidal, man, guys, I don't know if that would be, very wise of him. And also, we have to think about this. Now, the next logical matchup would be Conor McGregor. Now, that is a little bit, that's better thinking, alright? Just to, think about it a little bit. Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal, that right there is a very good matchup. I like Conor's chances in that fight. But right now, Conor McGregor is going for Khabib Nurmagomedov. That is his ultimate goal. That is what he wants to do. That is the mission for Conor. And if he goes after George Masvidal, that is going to delay his mission for Khabib. So, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, when you really think about this, who is Dana White talking about? He's talking about Colby Covington. These guys used to be friends. These guys now supposedly hate each other. I don't know if that's true. A lot of people think it's an act. If it's not an act, then this is a genius fight. Okay? Two former friends who now are at odds. These guys would go at it, and we all know the storm that Colby Covington brings, okay? He brings a storm to the octagon that is almost unbearable. That Kamaru Usman fight was it might be the best fight that I've ever seen, okay? And now when you think about that, and you think about George Masvidal, and all the talent that dude possesses, he is one of the best strikers in the UFC, okay? He is one of the best, alright? Also, his jiu-jitsu it's a hidden gem, okay? Damian Maia had his back and couldn't do nothing with him. People forget about that. People forget about that. Alright? Now, what he did to Ben Askren? George Masvidal can do things in that octagon that a lot of people they just write off as him being a gangster. No, that dude is a martial artist, and he deserves, that title. He's not just a gangster. No. That dude is a martial artist. And that dude is a killer. Now, them two, I don't know who would win that fight. A lot of people say Colby's wrestling would be the X factor. I tend to lean towards the wrestlers. So, when you think about it, that is what I believe Dana is talking about. Colby Covington versus George Masvidal. That's what the people want to see. The UFC is holding 3 events in 8 days in Jacksonville, Florida Arena. UFC 249 will be held at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Alright, so what this means is 3 events in 8 days. Now, this is going to make up for the time that we have had without events. So, this is good news, alright? This is good news. So now all we have to do is hope that there is no more hiccups. No more hiccups. Dana White seems to think that everything is good. And we also have to remember that Florida did pass this legislation that will allow this to go forth. So all we have to worry about is Walt Disney. That's it. In other news, Ray Borg is heading back to bantamweight on May 13th to face Ricky Simone. Now, Ricky Simone is a tricky one, okay? Now, Ray Borg, his wrestling, dude, that dude is just a grappler, okay? He is a elite grappler, but Ricky Simone has awesome grappling chops, all right? I believe this is going to be a really good fight. And now, we have to remember that Uriah Faber did beat Ricky Simone, but Uriah Faber's a G, okay? That dude just, people write him off as being old, but you have to remember that Uriah Faber is also a darn good fighter, okay? From back in the day that did adapt and get better in time. So we have to remember that. Now, when you get back to the nitty-gritty and you think about Ricky Simone against Ray Borg, I don't know who's going to win that fight. I don't know if Ray Borg is going to be able to adapt at the 135 level and fill out and be able to handle the size difference. But I would like to think that he will be able to, because I do like Ray Borg, but we have to remember that he is used to having a weight advantage over the 125ers because he did not make weight in his last few fights. I love Ray Borg. I like this guy a lot, but he did miss weight, and that does give him an advantage. I'm sorry, but it does, and that's just the way of it. But I am very excited for this fight. I do not know if Ray Borg is going to go in there and dominate this guy, because people do look over Ricky Simone because he does look a little funny, but the guy does fight good, okay? Yeah, Uriah Faber did you know, get out of there, get him out of there quickly, but you know, Uriah Faber does tend to do that sometimes. I mean, he's the California kid. I think Ray Borg may have a little trouble. But hey, that's what the fight's for. So One Championship releases their rankings, and now they are saying that their light heavyweight and their middleweight rankings will be released at a different date. So this is good because One Championship has now has rankings, so their fighters know where they stand, okay? But we all know how rankings are and that they mean absolutely nothing in the scheme of things. But I guess it's good so that we all know where the One Championship fighters are, okay? So that is a good thing. I mean, it's always good to have rankings, but we see what happens with the UFC rankings. I mean, we all see that. But I mean, it is good. It is good. So, yeah. But it is weird that their light heavyweight and their middleweight rankings will be released at a different date. I just, I don't get that. I'll have to figure out, you know, what's going on there, but, yeah, they just said they will be released at a later date. So, we'll see what's going on there. Mark Hunt says legal battles with the UFC are not over. Says he will fight again and he wants a boxing match. Now, Mark Hunt, you know, this dude is fired up. He believes that he was wronged. He wants retribution, you know, and he still wants to fight. This dude is getting older now. He's in his 40s. We all have to remember that. And he still wants to box. That surprises me. You know, we remember his kickboxing days. We all know how good he was there. We all remember those great fights. The way that he is talking about, you know, going after the UFC, I mean, this dude is just a fighter through and through, okay? You have to respect that. And I've always loved Mark Hunt, man. I've always loved this guy. And so I just, you know, I hope that this dude finds happiness, and, you know, I will always support Mark Hunt, and I will always watch his fights, no matter what. Tyron Woodley is close to deal to headline UFC May 23rd event. His opponent is still unknown, but sources say he is close to signing a deal to fight fellow welterweight contender Gilbert Burns. Now, this is good. I believe that this is one of the better fights, you know, besides the Colby. I believe that the Gilbert Burns fight is probably the hardest fight out there for Tyron Woodley. So, you know, this is awesome. I believe that Tyron Woodley, if he can defeat Gilbert Burns, hey man, this dude does deserve another title shot, because Gilbert Burns is on fire right now. Outside of Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington, and Tyron Woodley, there's Gilbert Burns. That's it. Those guys are the best. I mean, you know, there's no other better welterweights out there besides those guys, you know. Then you have Stephen Thompson. Yeah. Outside of those guys, I don't know who the better welterweights are right now at this moment. At this moment, those guys are the best. So if Tyron Woodley can go in there and beat Gilbert Burns, he has an argument to go in there and fight Kamaru Usman. I mean, Tyron Woodley was a dominant champion. I mean, say what you want to about the Damian Maia fight, okay? Say what you want to about the second Stephen Thompson fight. Fine. I get that. The guy wanted to hang on to his belt. But if he can go in there and beat Gilbert Burns, who is dominating everybody right now, he should get a title shot. Okay? I mean, I believe that. I really do. And, yeah, the way Gilbert Burns is just running through people, I mean, if Gilbert Burns beats Tyron Woodley, then Gilbert Burns should get a title shot. Dana White says the winner of Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje 100% gets Khabib Nurmagomedov. But what if the winner is Justin Gaethje? That then spoils the plans of Conor McGregor. So is Dana White then therefore going to give Justin Gaethje Khabib Nurmagomedov in front of Conor McGregor? I do not believe that. I do not believe that for 1 minute. I believe that Dana White will give Justin Gaethje the benefit of fighting Conor McGregor and tell him it's a payday that he can't turn down. That is what I believe. Now, I can be wrong. I've been wrong a million times in my life. But I just do not see Dana White turning down that fight, the Justin Gaethje Conor McGregor fight, because we all know that Dana White wants the Khabib Conor fight. And if Justin Gaethje somehow beats Khabib, which he can do, anybody can lose, the Khabib Conor fight is ruined. The plans are out the window. The party's over. So, ladies and gentlemen, this 100% statement, in my opinion, means nothing. Donald Cerone says he only has a couple years left, and that is pushing it. Now, guys, I hate to see Donald Cerone talking like this, okay? This dude right here is one of the reasons I love this sport so much. Donald Cerone, I mean, I say it all the time. He's one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter. I mean, you're not even supposed to have favorite fighters, right? Because MMA is such a wonderful sport. Whatever. People say you're not supposed to have favorite fighters. That's a load of baloney. Gosh. I hate to see the end of careers. But, I mean, you have to. It's a part of the sport. It's a part of every sport. And Donald's right. He's only got a little bit left. And this is coming right after we saw him take apart Al Iaquinta. And then he loses a few fights. You know, it happens. But, you know, it happens to everyone. Father Time comes calling, and you can't turn him away. So Donald Cerone is going to be fighting Anthony Pettis. And I believe that, you know, if he has a really bad loss, it may push up the few years even more. So Junior Dos Santos wants to cut down to 205 to fight John Jones. Now the way that he said this, he was like, everybody wants to fight Jones. Everybody wants to fight the best. I'm no different. And you know what? I like the way he said that, because you know what? It's the truth. Everybody does want to beat the best. It doesn't matter in what aspect of life it's in. Everybody wants to be the best. So to be the best, you have to beat the best. I like how Junior Dos Santos said this. So I believe if Junior Dos Santos can cut down to 205 effectively, safely, and do it, he's going to do it. Junior Dos Santos has a name. John Jones will not turn away that name. This can be a good fight. Can Junior Dos Santos keep a chin at 205? You know, his chin right now, everybody's like, he doesn't have a chin anymore, yada, yada, yada. He's taking shots at heavyweight, guys. You have to remember that. Those dudes are huge. Junior Dos Santos is not a big heavyweight. I would love to see that fight at 205. If Junior Dos Santos can do it and do it effectively, I want to see it. That is a fight I would love to see. Let's see it, Junior. If you can do it and do it right, I want to see it. I'm all for it. I will buy that pay-per-view every time. Or at least for sure the first time. Alright guys, that's going to do it. Please give this video the thumbs up. Really helps out the channel when you do. Also, subscribe for more MMA content. And guys, we will see you in the next video.